Great's #1 late night YouTube talk show. We're back at it again, and I'm excited to be back as always. And want to get your thoughts on the interview done earlier, as well as find out whatever else is on your mind. And we're going to talk about an article I just came across, which is playing directly into the overall agenda of furthering us towards a cashless society. And I want to share some thoughts from a survey, as well as find out whatever else is going on. So we're going to have a little fun this evening, and love to find out who any new viewers in a chat. Let me know where you're watching from. We'll love to acknowledge you and welcome your presence. And so let me check in for a second. We got King D, low blood pressure. Talk about calling in tonight. What else we got here? We have, let me see here. Let's see, a lot of back and forth on calling in or not. Mr. Spanky, how you doing, my friend, from Rapid City, South Dakota here. All right, so how's everybody doing? And as always, feel free, if you're watching, and even if you don't communicate via the chat, just chime in, say hello, so we'll get a chance to greet some new viewers, as well as those that's dropping in on us. And so I want to make sure I provide an opportunity for everyone to let their voice be heard. And so it's one of them things where it's not much of a talk show unless you have someone to talk to. So that's why I love giving you guys a chance to call in and share what's going on in your world, as well as what else is happening around you. So more than enough things to talk about. So we will definitely touch on that. Ethan G, I appreciate that love offering to the channel, my friend. Says, thanks for all you do, Mike. I appreciate you, my man. Thank you for your support. And what else we have? We got Egypt Oren, peace from Chattanooga. How you doing, my friend? We got Philman in the building, Solos with us. We got Ralph, Don. Okay, Don Baba. Okay, Columbia, South Carolina. How you doing, my friend? What else we got? Landlord X from LA. Hello, world. All right, we got Byron. Okay, Ralph. Flint area here. How you doing, Ralph, my man? Welcome to the chat. So, that being the case, came across an interesting article. Wanted to just lead off with that, and then we'll open up to whatever else you guys want to talk about. But it's not by surprise. I'm not surprised at all. And it's a survey, and I'll dive into the article briefly. But the survey basically surveyed a relatively small amount of people, and the article was entitled "More American." No, I'm sorry, most. It kind of lumped this all into one category and saying most Americans fear touching cash. And I'm thinking, like, most. I'm like, 600 people surveyed is not enough to consider most. And so once again, the source is from a digital payment processing company. Of course, it plays right into their line of business because it's all digital in nature. But then it got me thinking about, based upon the current fear that's being put out there everywhere you look, for the most part, every mainstream source is really telling you how bad it is. They are continuing to plaster cases and all that stuff. And so it's an ongoing thing. And so without even trying to avoid it, it's some form of fashion. And let me know if I'm wrong, whether it's through just casual conversation or thumbing through your phone or somewhere, you're going to get hammered with an ad or something like that will remind you of this current situation, even if you're trying to escape from it, from all the news sources. So it plays right into the agenda of how it will be easy for people to opt out of utilizing cash out of sheer concern over their health, as well as not wanting to go against the grind, because everything is heading towards cashless, to really press in and try to hang on to your last little bit of cash for those that are awake. So for those that are still asleep and labeled as more so sheeple that just follow the mainstream narrative, those are the individuals that will overwhelmingly decide to say, hey, I don't really carry cash anyway. What do I need cash for? Sure, I'll just use my card. And then that right there is more than enough to make it so that cash will become somewhat extinct in the very near future. And so, as always, let me check in. We got more people tuning in. Aaron, I appreciate you for chiming in. It says, putting all my cash on the bed now and rolling around naked in it. Okay. One of the things is, cash is, still has its fair share of germs. And I read something years ago. Somebody remind me if I'm not correct with it, but it said that, there's more, I think, cocaine on $100 bills than any other bill or something like that. And it was an overwhelming survey that majority of bills circulate has cocaine on them or something like that. So you're rolling around in some things that is not necessarily, clean in nature. All right, man. So let me dive into this article and then I will open up the phone lines because I'm curious to find out what you guys think. And I just think the article itself was set up very well to be probably a paid for contribution by some person. And so that's what we're getting a lot of these nowadays. And so there's a lot of funds being spent to fund the rioters. We got, the Black Lives Matter rioters. We got the Antifa, which they're all basically the same under the same funding window. We know who they are. And then we have all the corporate America is even getting involved in the campaign process for Joe Biden. And so we heard about how Joe Biden was bailing out some of the rioters in certain states. And I even came across something that I'll actually dive into further, but it mentions that some federal funds that have been released, up to $15 billion, has been sent to 5 democratically led states, which happen to be the states where all the rioting and looting has been taking place. So is that by coincidence? I'm sure it's not. And so, like Lisa says, we are already cashless, digital dollar, but real paper is not in the bank. Very true. And that's one of the things I've always been, I'm not in a rush to go solely digital because it's one of those things that once we go solely digital, there's no going back in the form of having something tangible, whether it's worth something or not, whether it still has purchasing power in of itself. The qualities of having a cash note in your hand still offers something that I think at this current moment, the digital transformation we're entering into does not offer that. And it happens to be the ability to transact privately, relatively speaking, where you can do transactions and not actually have to worry about going through any extra steps to not leave a trail or, not trying to hide anything, but you just don't want you don't want to open source, an open ledger bank account in a sense for most people. So, but yeah, it's one of them things where it's inevitable. So of course there's not enough cash to go around, even if there was a demand on cash from your bank account. But so I tell people, even though the cash is becoming worth less, enjoy it because once it's gone, we're into a solely digital economy. And then at that point, all gloves are off. You're at the mercy of whatever the technology gives us. And of course, cybersecurity is going to be a much bigger issue because not only does, the transformation to the digital world become more convenient and easier for everybody, but it also creates a whole nother line of work, which is the cybersecurity hacking side of things. That's going to become a very profitable line of work for a lot of people to try to hack into your phone and everything else. And of course, most of the technology we have now in the form of these gadgets here are controlled by 3 primary companies. We got Apple, Android, and there's maybe one other one. So, they're not designed to really secure you having the ability to carry on your phone large amounts of digital coins, currency, or whatever you want to call it. So once again, that's one of the things that's a benefit of becoming your own bank is that the risk falls on you. So yeah, but anyway, enough of me ranting. Okay, so I want to get into these articles here, just real quick and brief. Get your thoughts on it, and we will keep moving right along. So let me pop this up here. Okay, so here is an article here that I came across from Fortune, and this was as of yesterday. And when it said most Americans, I'm like, okay, this is a setup right here. They're trying to really corner everybody here. And I'm thinking like, no, I don't really, that's not me. And I'm assuming a majority of you as well may not necessarily fall into that camp because I know personally, I've seen more people who are awake and realize that things are not what they seem on the surface are actively using cash because they're getting their weight up. And I know several dealers that prefer only to operate in cash. And so cash is, still accepted. But anyway, most Americans now fear touching cash, survey says. Okay, so let's find out about this survey. And so it says Dirty Money is a popular Netflix documentary, but the term could also be used to describe how many Americans feel, so they lumping us all together, about handling cash these days. According to a new survey, 54% of Americans are concerned about touching coins or bills due to this current situation we're experiencing, while 60% plan to use so-called touchless payments in the future. Okay, so I'm gonna stop right there. So it lumped you in as well. So whether you're one of the individuals that agree with this or not, it's kind of being put out before millions of people at most. And so those numbers there, 54%. Oh, okay, not really a lot, but out of 600 people, more than enough for them to base a good claim that this is the direction that the world actually wants. And so, once again, 54% of Americans are okay. The findings are based on an online survey of 600 people conducted by Rapid, a global payment company, backed by digital payment giant Stripe. And so, once again, payment giant Stripe. And so we all know the narrative that's been sold to us about the current health situation and how there's a coin shortage, and most stores are now preferring to be paid solely digital because they don't want to have to deal with the headache of dealing with cash. Okay. But here's the question I want to put out there for you guys. Based upon the trend, based upon the narrative and so I would imagine that this was a paid for piece by Stripe, which happens to be a digital payment giant processing company. And so I'd imagine there's going to be more paid for advertisements by these companies here promoting their digital payment systems, which will eventually, set in with a lot of people because there's more than enough people that already bought in. Just look at the people, who drive in their car with masks on. So it doesn't take much for people to really buy in, therefore automatically opting out of, thinking for themselves and thinking beyond just, the current fear that's been set up. So question for you, based upon that little statement there, how long do you think? So give me a time frame where you think there will be some type of, will there be an official announcement that cash is no longer accepted, and it'll have to come at the smaller level, which will be your retail bank, your commercial bank. And so how long between now and that announcement by either the Federal Reserve or your commercial bank that they no longer accept cash deposits? That's where it's going to start at. And then they're going to tax you on withdrawals, especially as we head into a deeper negative environment. So question for you guys, will it be in 2020 or in early 2021 rather? I'm curious to find out, and then why. And if it's something that's going on now, feel free to let me know. I'm curious to find out what you guys think. And so Rolf says in 6 months. And so that'll put us in the beginning of 2021. And so who says, let me see, check out, he killed it today about the Fed. Check this channel out. What you talking about? Who you referring to? I'm curious to find out. It says, Angel says in 2 weeks. Okay. Rolf says, what else we got here? It says, I'm an officer, worst nightmare. Authoritarians will know worst nightmare. Cash will be okay until 2022. Brando Commando. Okay, why do you say 2022? That gives us some time. And so, I think that, let me say, I would imagine 2022 will be planned very nicely because by next year, they're going to have that UBI rolled out, and the payment system that will be offered through either the Treasury or the Fed will be based upon some type of wallet app on your phone. And because, you see Pelosi and all them talking about, the need to get more internet connection and broadband out to everybody and 5G and stuff like that. So they want to make sure everyone's connected. And so I think that it's going to be 2021. Now it's all a matter of how this presidential election stuff rolls out. If we have it as planned, and if Trump happens to win again, I would imagine it'll be sooner. But then again, it's kind of hard to read. Man, interesting. So low blood pressure says never cashless. Okay, because the global reset is scheduled for January 2021. Okay, so man, a lot will have to happen between now and January. That's 5 months away. And so there must be a lot of chaos going on to where people would be okay with giving up their last little bit of cash. It says, who can really call it? But I say at least until the November election. Then who knows after that? And so, like low blood pressure mentioned, cash is not going anywhere. And that's one of the things I do believe. I think it's going to be one of those things where we're going to end up kind of like Sweden or one of those Scandinavian countries where just by overwhelming popularity, the digital transformation continues to escalate on. And, primarily, if you look at the younger generation now, they're the ones that utilize all the payment apps, whether it's Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, you name it. All the pretty much the 20 and 30-year-old ish use that solely and don't really touch cash. It's only those that between that, probably that late 30s to baby boomer age that would appreciate having a little bit of something in your pocket that you can fold and work with. And so it says cash is going to leave. They are indoctrinating all of us right now. Michael says we are already set up for a cashless system. They just have to iron out the wrinkles before it's official. Okay. They have already tested the new quantum financial system with the banks. Okay. And so that quantum financial system, okay, so that was touched on last night. So I think Typo mentioned that. And so that quantum financial system, I'm assuming, that is the next corporate or the next, privatized, centrally controlled network that will be used as a payment processing mechanism that the commercial banks will offer the depositors, or will it come through solely the Fed? Because based upon what I'm reading, the Fed accounts and the Fed accounts now, that process is something that the Federal Reserve is looking to probably officially announce at the beginning of 2021, especially as Q3, Q4 really becomes very turbulent as far as them providing more than enough liquidity. They're going to want to talk about getting it to the people faster directly, as which they're mentioning. So is that all incorporated, you think? Because my personal mindset is that once this current banking crisis unfolds and all of the too big to fail banks are even condensed down even further to maybe 2 or 3, there's going to be maybe thousands upon thousands of small banks, including credit unions, that just go out of business. So there won't be many banks still in operation because cash won't be used as much, and that digital platform will be rolled out entirely to where there won't be no need for regional banks to go down to ATMs and stuff like that. So, and I saw a condensing of all the small banks anyway in a lot of small towns throughout the country. So that's already underway, but I'm really curious to find out more of this quantum financial system, because I'm not quite sure how that plays into the overall plan. Well, okay, let me see here. I see something about a punchline here. You can't just say quantum, blah, blah, blah. What else we got going on? How will the dark web get fed? The black market will suffer. And that's where I think there'll still be a medium of exchange that people will use. I think as the chaos unfolds, that we might get back to centrally or little areas where there'll become some community-based coins and currencies. And as well, remind you, as of now, until there's going to come that confrontation between decentralized and centralized. And if the government still stays intact and if it continues to grow, mind you, we're already in a surveillance state. So I think it's going to be a lot easier for that decentralized and centralized digital war to take place, to where they're going to put a lot of pressure on those that hold decentralized coins, as well as all the other blockchains and cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. So there's going to come a time where there's going to be some back and forth. Now we'll see who will prevail, but there's going to always be a way to get, exchange value with somebody else somehow, some fashion. So anyone, okay, let me see. It says okay, I'm behind the chat a little bit. We need ARMs and ATMs. Quantum will run on XRP Ledger. The IMF put out a document laying groundwork for the new financial system. Okay. So with that being the case, so that documentation I have not read. I definitely will dive into that. So using the word quantum, I'm trying to figure out exactly how, because it looks like that whole network, the XRP network, as it's being offered, is a centrally controlled distribution of power throughout the same people who run this current system. And so I'm not quite sure how beneficial that'll be for the people if that particular coin is used to run that network, which is designed for the banking system. So how far removed will we be going from those that are already in control would be my concern. And that's why, outside of XRP looking like it's becoming the people's, not the people's favorite because of what the banks are doing with this, I would imagine that and that's one thing I always had a problem with, is that XRP being used as a banker's coin is not necessarily designed for the people to profit from entirely. Because once again, XRP is not a private coin and nothing like that, to where everything you do is basically open. And, a lot of people don't seem to mind that. But, I, to this current moment, still have a desire to have some type of anonymity in this whole system here. But to each his own. All right, so Philman has a question. Says, how much longer before banks fire tellers and close banks down? Philman, that's another great question. So let me see here. I would, at the rate at which things are unfolding, I would imagine definitely within 2021, because right now we're seeing a downsize in the banking sector at the corporate level. And so I remember over the last 2 years, especially talking about, all the big boys. I think like the Goldman Sachs and the Bank of Americas and Wells Fargo, they've all been laying off a lot and downsizing a lot of departments that have been taken over by computers. And so once again, the banking sector, as it transitions solely into, automated type of, processes and software and stuff like that, there'll be no need for human beings in the banking sector, period. So I would imagine that's definitely within the next couple of years, because that's a part of their plan. So I would say next year we're going to definitely hear more and find out more about the lack of people being able to go down to local tellers or whatnot and withdraw cash. Says lots of banking by appointment, not only now. So Jay, so that's another thing. Like I personally, outside of going through the ATM or the teller window, I haven't even attempted to really go into the banks lately. So the fact you got to set an appointment is a whole other thing, because that lets me know that you're using the cover up of the health scare to keep people out. And so Rothschild Banking Corporation of America. Yeah, no doubt. And so just XRP itself, without, I never dived in deep into it, but just knowing who it's for and who it's by, no doubt the Rothschilds, are going to benefit heftily with that project, because, they're included in that. Better believe that. And that's one of the things that bothers me with the transition from the physical world to the digital, is because unless we are removing ourselves out of this current banking controlled paradigm we're in, we're going right back into their hands by, getting excited about XRP. Just because you got a bag don't necessarily mean it's going to be comfortable in the end, if we're, even more so entrapped into the same system we're in now. So yeah. Anyway, so let me get this phone lines up. I'm ranting too much. Let me open the phone lines up. Whatever else you guys want to talk about, feel free to do so. Let's talk. I don't want to just restrict us to talking about this cashless society we're being ushered into, but I wanted to share that. And so I actually got another, the actual article originated from here. And so, right, it says new research, consumers want contactless and digital payments due to this current situation, which once again, consumers, I personally, I didn't ask to use solely digital, but that we're all being lumped together. And it gives a lot of interesting facts here as far as the numbers from their survey of 600 people. It says our findings include, it says 32% want to see paper money coins phased out in the future because of this. So 32% out of that 600 or so interviewed want to see coins and paper phased out. And so coins has been phased out without, them even actually having to request it. But paper is definitely not too far away. It says 45% would like to see pennies phased out. Okay, pennies, sure. 30.5% want to see all coins phased out, and 81% have heard about the U.S. coin shortage. So that's a survey that we've all been lumped into. Let me know if you agree. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, it's Low Blood Pressure, Corpus Christi. Man.
Corpus Christi. How you doing, my man? My phone has not rung from you, so don't put that on me.
Hey, you see, I got a Wyoming number. I got people looking for me.
Okay.
It's like a 307. You know which one now?
I see the 307. Yeah, so I'll lock you in. So I'll put low blood pressure.
Sometimes I was trying to call from my kids' phones. They're 361, but
Man, how many phone lines you got? You got your kids, got burner phones and everything.
I'm telling you, man, I'm hiding, Mike. I'm hiding.
I bet, man. You should have took out so many credit cards.
No, you know what I did now? I got 6 birth certificates. I got 6 kids. They all got a credit score. They all got their own little golden credit card.
Man, you got your kids and some cards, man. Please tell me you're joking.
Like, yeah, my kids are like, they already know, like, what's in your wallet? What's in your wallet? They're like, go to silver, Dad. I'm like, hell yeah, they know already. I'm brainwashing,
man, what else is going on in your world, my friend?
Man, I don't know, Mike. I don't know, man. I got too much pressure. You know, everybody wants me to call in and say something funny, but I don't know what to say. You know,
Just be yourself, my man. That's all you got to do. Just be yourself, and naturally, you always, some humor comes out to the surface. What's up?
Man, I always think people are laughing with me, but they're always laughing at me, Mike. I finally got it. You know, now that I got online and read everybody's comment, I finally get it.
Well, I said, but a lot of people you've introduced the idea of taking out credit cards and using them to get your weight up, and so that's something that only comes from you. I never condone it or whatnot. I just open the mic up, let people talk, and there's others out there that have probably utilized the same method. So you've helped some people get heavier in a sense. So I guess that's something you could be proud of, my friend.
Well, look at it. Like I was getting heavy at 14, when it was 16 and 15.
Yeah.
And imagine if somebody took the opportunity and said, yeah, I'm going to get heavy and then with a credit card, like no interest for like 24 months or whatever, promos.
Yeah.
And then right now they could just turn around and sell their silver and have free silver in their pocket,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good thing, man. So there's different ways of getting it done. So of course you got to have your own strategy to do it. But yet, like today, today was a great day as far as the price having dipped, and I came across some Eagles for $5 over spot. So I had a nice little shopping day myself. So, manipulation is my friend, but unfortunately, people I deal with only want cash. So that's why cash is crucial for me still. So, so I can't use credit cards for that, huh?
Yeah, you're talking about this cashless society, Mike.
Yeah,
I don't see it coming. I don't see it coming here in the States, Mike. Mm-hmm. I don't think governments could afford it because I think people will find other ways of payments. They'll mm-hmm. work around the system.
Yeah,
like because how the hell are you gonna buy what from who at the corner without no cash? They'll start trading something different. See, and governments can't allow that.
Yeah.
So I think the cash is going to be reduced. It's already reduced. Mm-hmm. But for it to go cashless, to go away totally, mm-hmm. I don't see that ever happening, ever.
Yeah. But and I hope that's the case.
Yeah, because they got those gold backs in Utah.
Yeah.
The people start trading with that, or people start trading in Eagles or just change or they'll make something up. You know.
Oh, definitely. People will find, and that's where when you want it bad enough, you become very creative with how you go about getting it. So people will definitely continue to do what they do, however they do it. And so, yeah. And that's on top of that, like the governments themselves, they're the biggest drug lords, drug dealers, terrorists themselves. So they need ways of still being able to do transactions with, in the crime scene themselves. So, they won't, if it's a digital ledger transfer system, that leaves a trail as well. So I'd imagine they don't necessarily want to have their business out there for whatever that's worth. So, yeah, man. But hey, appreciate you calling, man.
All right. I hope everybody's happy finally. They thought I didn't pay my phone bill or something.
They got you. You got
maxed out all my credit.
Hey, you're the first call of the night, my man. I appreciate that.
All right. So, real quick, Mike,
yes, sir.
You convince the family about the credit cards, or are you still waiting?
I'm still waiting. So I mean, I got the credit cards, but I ain't using them for that. So, we got them, but I ain't maxed them out like that yet. I still think we got some more pullback room to get some weight up. But I do use them.
What you waiting for, Mike?
Because the game is not over yet, and I think we still gonna have some time to get heavy. So I'm patient. I'm not in a rush. Like I'm not looking for like astronomical prices. I'm okay. Believe it or not, I'm fine with this environment because once it gets crazy and chaotic, that's going to consume our lives even more because that's going to be the continued talk of our lives, and not really ready for that just yet.
All right, Mike. All right.
But I see you though.
All right.
All right. Be good.
All right. Have a good night.
Yes, sir. Yes, man. Appreciate you calling as always. We got Nano Joe. I like that. It says Monero is going to be $10,000 a coin. So undervalued right now. I would agree 100%. I would agree. And so that project there will be used heavily. And so it's one of the things where it's hush. It's not mainstream. It's kept under the radar. And I think that's by design. And so, yeah, that's not going to go nowhere. So privacy coins, I do like the idea behind those. All right, so we got Runar 500 says the economy is way too complex to plan it. History has shown that enough times, yet we embark on the biggest planned economy in the history of the world. Yeah. And so that's one of the things that's interesting because, we were witnessing the de-dollarization process, and all the media, now all the stuff we talk about for the most part happens to be about what's happening on these shores here. And so there's a plan on the western side of this planet, the western hemisphere, where China and Russia, they all got their own issues and problems as well, but yet they got plans jointly for, after all this stuff unwinds. And that's where I think the status, the international reserve status of the Federal Reserve note is a different part of the equation, therefore creating a different standard of living within this country, because that means that credit will not be readily available the way that it has before. So I think within, if that 2025 is the time frame that this event we're experiencing is, supposed to be fully, revealed to us, by that time, there's going to be, there's definitely going to be a downgrade in our standard of living in this country, as well as the introduction of the next payment system, as well as all types of industries no longer being in existence, with the creation of some as well. And so, in a very short time, we're going to be this current system we're living in now will look completely different. And it's starting to take form right now. Rolf says, debt jubilee. LOL. Are you kidding me? The bankers want debt slaves. Yeah. And so, it's going to be unfortunately, at the way the Federal Reserve is setting things up with, overshooting inflation, as well as trying to strategically control the inflation aspect, as well as the borrowing costs or lack thereof. They're going to just, continue to expand the monetary base, which destroys currencies and destroys lives. On top of that, wow, the equities markets continue to shoot up, as well as maybe even, housing prices. I'm not sure housing prices can really go through the roof, given the fact that if credit is not readily available and the banks are cracking down on how much they're lending and who they're lending to, I'm not quite sure how much further the bubbles can expand if people are not able to utilize credit as easily as we have this last decade, especially because think about this. All the unnecessary spending of, going and getting furniture and not paying anything for, 6 years, or all that zero down, driving off the lot with a car, not paying anything, but, getting 6 months free. All that stuff ends the moment the commercial banks decide that, they are no longer extending credit. When they stop lending, when the banks stop lending, game is over for the standard of living we have in this country, because a majority of everything we enjoy in this country is due to credit. Where you live, what you drive, and all the hobbies and sports or whatever is fueled by credit. And so imagine a world where everybody could only operate in accordance to their actual income, to where you go back 100 years or so, where you had to actually save to put down a chunk of change to get anything of importance to you. So, that's what'll happen, opposite of fractional reserve banking system. So, and that's definitely, it is doable as possible, because look at the rest of the world, man. We are no exception, I don't think. So as much as the presidents want to say that we're leading the world in this, okay, yeah. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello. Hi, is this Mike?
Yes, this is. How you doing? What's your name?
Hey, my name is Chip Fernandez. I'm from Berkeley, California.
Chip from California. How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Okay, so I've been stacking silver for quite a while.
Okay.
Since 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had plenty of discussions with friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
And just wanted to share a really easy way for people to understand monetary inflation, because sometimes you bring this stuff up and they don't really get it.
Right.
So I used a Monopoly board game as an analogy.
Okay.
Because with the boiling frog perspective, they don't really perceive the inflation.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell them about it, but once you tell them, like, if you just consider a Monopoly board game,
yeah,
as part of the consider it as a government or a country, and how if you add up all the money at the start of a Monopoly game, it's about $14,000, and then if you divvy up the money. So when you first started, I think everybody gets about $1,400 each.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like, what people think what an economy is, runs. Like, the money is constant. It doesn't, it's static. It doesn't really go up.
Right.
But then once you start telling them that this country starts having multiple wars, a lot of entitlements, now they have to start, making more money, because there's actually a rule in Monopoly board game that if you run out of money, you get to get pieces of paper and start writing numbers on them.
Mm-hmm.
That's an actual Monopoly rule.
Yeah.
And so then if you tell them, okay, now instead of $14,000, there's now $250,000 running in the Monopoly board game.
Mm-hmm.
So then now that $200 when you pass go is now, let's say, $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
So then now each person now probably has, closer to like 10, 15,000, maybe even like 25,000,
mm-hmm.
somewhere around there. But now if they land on Boardwalk, it's not gonna go for only $350.
Yeah.
It's gonna, because when you ask them, all right, so straight out, if there's a bidding war for Boardwalk, it usually goes for $350. Joe there, he has 80,000. You have 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
And you think it's only going to go for 350? So that's when I think a lot of my friends and family, that's when it starts clicking, and just a little seed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mike, that's all I wanted to share.
Yeah, that's a good example, man. I appreciate you for sharing that one. Price is going up. All right, my man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, it's a good one. Good simple example, man. Like the greater the monetary base, the more competition for actual real resources, such as, real estate, houses, food, you name it. Therefore, that has to go up as well. So, yeah, it says, why can't, Rolf says, why can't you create credit out of thin air like the Fed? Create credit. You can, I think you can create credit. I think, it's just a matter of, having somebody on the other end willing to participate in that transaction with you. So you can probably go out and create a line of credit with all your family and friends and tell them you'll pay them back down the line. And I don't know how to play out, but yet, you can create you a line of credit. Just basically just a promise to pay later. Usually you put some down, but, I'm not sure how that works. So it definitely will ruin your name on that one. But what else we got going on here? Okay, so we don't have to stick on the subject matter. Whatever else is on your mind, feel free to let me know, and then we can talk about that. And then saw somebody mention about Trump wanting to cut payroll tax or create a holiday, and then of course, if he doesn't win, that holiday turns into a "you owe me back" type of thing. So that's not going to be a comfortable time. And so as of now, man, like I mentioned last night, if things keep going the way that they are, I think Trump will definitely look to further cut more and more and more, and therefore eliminate taxation altogether somehow, some way. And so I'm looking at some of the articles I put out earlier. And so also, what do you guys, for those that may have had a chance, anybody had a chance to catch that interview I did earlier? Any thoughts on that? What do you guys think? Because Daryl Schoen always brings the energy. He comes loaded and hyped and ready to go. That guy makes me laugh. You get a caller on that's pissed. What are we talking about? People are going to take it pretty hard with rising food prices. Not something to look forward to. Sad, store wealth and tangible assets. Yeah, man. It's coming. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, Tony from Oakland.
Tony, I'm doing good, my friend. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Do me a favor. Look up ISO 222 Ripple.
All right. Give me 1 second. ISO 222. All right. All righty. I think, let me see. ISO Ripple 2022. I got Wikipedia here. ISO 2020. Okay, Ripple. Okay, yeah. All right, I see it.
That is what the new format's going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it creates a little honesty in the banking system, and the U.S. don't want honesty, so the U.K. has held off in order to implement it, because it's supposed to be implemented this year in order for it to roll out next year.
Yeah.
But now it's going to be delayed probably till But we probably shouldn't be scared of the new system that's coming. If the U.S. is fighting it, it's got to be good for us. It'll be painful in the beginning, but it'll be good in the end.
Now watch this. As far as being good for us, I probably will question that because they're operating from the standpoint that they want to get off the dollar system. So anything suggested that they agree upon would eliminate the dominance of this country here, which is good for them, but not necessarily good for us. So I see the U.S. don't want to lose that power source, but I don't think they have our best interest in mind. So I think this is all not beneficial, especially if it's further down the line of a centrally controlled, uniform, globally accepted payment system.
Mike, they can't get away from the dollar.
They can't get away, but
that's why we're still here.
They're gonna wean themselves off of it like they currently have now, and in time there'll come a time where they will not necessarily need to or want to accept anything denominated from the United States government. So that's in the future. So I'd imagine this payment processing system here has factored that in.
I see where you would want to go with this.
Yeah.
But in reality, no one can get off the dollar, and that's why China's trying, but they cannot set up a totally new system and then just flick it over in 2 weeks' time, and now we're back on.
Correct.
There is what I believe, and this is only my belief, is what China's trying to do is not indebt their country because they've seen what happens to the dollar here. So what they're doing is paying for oil, and it's all about oil. So we could say Bitcoin, we could say whatever we want to do, but it's all about the oil. We know the petrodollar.
Yeah.
And what I think China's doing is trading their oil in yuan to the point where they have the dollar amount equal to, and if they don't, then they go to the IMF for the gold in order to make it right, make it even. But China's not using their gold; they're using the IMF gold. They got the money for it. They got the U.S. dollar debt for it.
Yeah, they're definitely spending and utilizing their last remaining reserves denominated in treasuries and dollars or whatnot. So I think, well, not 100% sure, but all the transactions and all the developments they've been doing around the world has been them utilizing their reserves in dollars. And so do you think they're going to get to a point where they use their last remaining reserves, or are they going to always keep a little something to interact with until they don't no longer need to?
And it's going to be like I said the other Swift GPI. It's going to be some form, because all countries done the same thing. All countries that's went down in their currency, like the sterling pound, it went down this way, and the currency before that, and the currency before that. It's just a system that's set up that's destined to fail. You overrun the system with so much debt, and you send your manufacturing away, you send all your goods away, and then you just pile with the dollars, and then you crash, and then the next guy picks it up.
Yeah.
And so, that China's going to get away from the IMF eventually, and they're going to have their own AIIB.
Yeah.
That's where they're start at.
Yeah.
And then it'll just be the whole thing for the next 70 years. So whatever happens, it's going to be hard for us to get off it. It's the crackhead off the crack. But after it's all said and done, it's going to be a good time, because then we aren't burdened by what the U.S. has done with the dollar as far as weaponizing it.
Yeah, but think about the adjustment and the wages here for whatever that's worth, as well as just the price of everyday goods and services as we're transitioned. They're going to be a lot higher or less affordable for the majority because of that lack of strength in our national currency, because we won't be funded or supported by our creditors anymore, because everything's going to have to happen in house. And if we don't have anything to back up our own currency to give it strength internationally, it's going to become one of those currencies that's downgraded or devalued constantly to keep par with international the peg or whatever that is. So it's going to be hard times for this country.
Let me just say this: the U.S. has one of two choices. They inflate until nobody wants the currency, or they have to just get off the system, get off the pot. Because they're going to have to inflate. They're going to have to inflate to where the dollar's only like 80, 70, 75, 85, 75.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to want that. Or you do inflation. I mean, you get your bonds up.
Yeah.
You get your bond numbers up, and everybody would be glad to take on the U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
the yields up on the bonds. But you can't do that because you promised the banks to keep the bonds low.
Yeah.
So we're in a doom loop, tripling dilemma. We're in a doom loop here that we can't get out of.
Yeah.
So we suffer through it, and like I said, central banks are trying to work through this thing for us because they could just say, screw it, we got our money, you guys on your own, go kick rocks.
Yeah.
Go pound sand.
Yeah.
But they're not doing that. They're trying to save it so that we aren't in the streets hungry. Which I give them credit for, but you the one got us here, though.
Yeah,
that's my point. You got us here. Why you trying to say I'm saving you when you're the one that put me in the grave?
Yeah. Now, as far as saving us, I would doubt that because the ultimate agenda that I've noticed of the central banking model is to extend credit and actually, in return, acquire actual resources. So, outside of holding 60% of all mortgages in this country, and now getting into owning corporate shares as well as corporations and all that stuff like that. The Federal Reserve, when this all ends, they're gonna be owning a lot more than your average citizen will be owning in their own personal lives.
That's the price you pay.
Yeah.
Like I seen the shirt over the weekend and said MAGA, Mexicans always get allowed. Mexicans always get allowed.
Yeah.
So somebody's got to flip that hamburger, man.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, so
Right,
so in that next world, we might end up actually seeing some things that says "Made in America," and that's the part of the rebuilding process for whatever that's worth under a new system. So we'll see, man.
But whoa! We can't do manufacturing here. If we do manufacturing here, then the price of goods has got to be astronomical.
I'm talking about.
We cannot do manufacturing
I'm
here.
talking about.
We have to depreciate the dollar.
Yeah.
Who's going to work for $3 an hour?
Here's the thing.
Because that's what you're looking at.
If 300 plus Americans minus that, because there's going to all the other plans out there, the agendas or whatever. But if you got people that's broken down to the bare minimum of living standards, and in the rebuilding process, and if all they have is you taking that low wage job or you starve, there's going to be a lot more people willing to accept a lot less than they're used to now. And then as time goes on, it's going to be hard to complain for anything else if that's all you know. Because all it takes is time. One generation of people accepting less than enough becomes a norm. So our kids will be the ones. Yeah.
Where we at now? There's 54 million people sitting on the sidelines, should be in the streets, getting a check every 5 months, should be in the streets, and having a good time, racking up credit cards and debt, should be in the streets. They got us, man. They know how to get us. They know how to keep us in the COVID. Get in the house. Put a mask on. They got us, man.
You're right, my man.
All right,
so I appreciate you, man.
Good talking to you.
Yep, same here.
Bye.
Yeah, boy. Good stuff, man. Appreciate the call. Appreciate the insight and the back and forth. Definitely, man. Like that's one of the benefits of having such a smart audience. A lot of people bring a lot of different angles and viewpoints to the equation to help us all map this thing out. So long story short, based upon that conversation there, we all know it's nothing new. The dollar, the Federal Reserve as we know it, is heading down the toilet, like Daryl said earlier, at a much faster pace. Therefore, you need something to transition into with that actually retains some type of purchasing power. So, of course, you know what that is. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Just pay me money, Bass Clean, Texas. How you doing?
I'm doing good, my man. How you doing?
Man, look here, check this out. I'm gonna ask you a question.
Go ahead.
How many lions, tigers, and bears do you see swimming in the ocean to get overseas?
I haven't seen none.
I ain't heard of a lion saying, say, I wonder what some of that baboon booty tastes like over in America. Well, we got to send somebody over there to make a deal. Because we trying to get some of that meat over here. My whole point I'm trying to make here, we could sustain by ourselves and work out deals later. While we sitting back trying to figure out why we got to do all these deals. Can we survive off the dollar? Can't nobody survive off the dollar. Everybody can survive off the dollar. It's just we choose to keep trusting the system like this. And the crazy thing is, when the people wake up and the people make a whole nother system against the government to fight the government, and I can use an example that happened factually by a guy the name of Craig Wright, if you ever know who he is. He tried to claim that he was Satoshi Nakamoto. get Bitcoin. Okay, check this out. So he stood up there and said he was Satoshi. But when it comes to Craig Wright, all you got to do is prove it. You can't prove it. Now, this is what the thing was with the judges. The judges was like, we need somebody to challenge this.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though we know he's not who he is, if no one challenges it, and he's the only one who filed paperwork, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
So the moral of that is when we, the people who create something and challenge the government legally, like we go out and get legal underground lawyers, we get people like you, George Gammon, to sit down and make a panel, Bitcoin thing. All y'all sit down. Now we got our fathers of this founding organization. Somebody with some credentials and credibility.
Mm-hmm.
When we reach that point, then we can start making a change. But there's nobody challenging these fools. It's like we Americans are saying, we don't know how to feed ourselves, so we gonna vote for these people to make all because I'm handicapped. I don't see Mike letting pay me money back show up at his door, be like, okay, we finna give our check over to pay me money back, and he gonna pay our lights, he gonna pay our water, he gonna do all that stuff for it. It don't make no sense. We gotta start thinking for ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to say.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree 100%. As always, man, it's good to hear. I appreciate you throwing those questions at me because I don't know what's coming, but I appreciate it, man. Good to hear from you.
Already.
Be good.
For sure.
Yeah, baby money back. Throw some questions, boy. He said, swimming over the ocean. You ain't seen no bears and lions swimming. Oh man, good stuff, man. All right, let's give me a call. Let's talk. What else you guys got in your mind? Let me think about some other. Okay, here's something else I saw. CNN yesterday put out a tweet about after Kamala Harris was selected. CNN tweeted something about Kamala Harris, whatever, great candidate, whatever. She'll do just fine as President Biden, gets ready to dial back, and as he's removed or something like that, she'll be a great whatever. I'm thinking like, huh? Like, hold on, like CNN, like, and I meant to share that, but we all have pretty much come to the conclusion that at this current moment, Joe Biden will not be the one that will, be pushed forward in the weeks and months ahead. And that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But when I saw that tweet from CNN, they're saying that, basically stating that Kamala Harris would be the primary presidential candidate once Biden steps down or something like that. I'm thinking like, so like if they tweeting that, whether it's even in alignment with what the agenda is, that's kind of bold to be throwing it out there the first day she's brought on, unless they're trying to get people out there talking about it and get some buzz created. But I'm curious to find out how that would go because she would get eaten alive because her track record is not presidential. Anyway, who's is? Hello, caller. Which name are we calling from?
This is Gerald from Gerald. I'm across, Wisconsin.
Gerald in Wisconsin. How you doing, my man?
Yeah.
What's in your mind?
I'd say nothing much. I just about the Kamala Harris,
Mm-hmm.
Joe Biden's little VP.
Yeah.
That's all we need is a lawyer, a prosecutor in office. Now, more brothers and sisters are gonna go to jail.
Yeah, and I'm hearing more and more.
She has a track record of putting us down. So it's like, come on.
Yeah.
If Biden getting in, we knew that what the Democrats have done as far as keeping up this hell up on the street.
Mm-hmm.
That it's all orchestrated for this globalist agenda.
Right.
And America has fallen.
Yeah. Very true, man. Very true. Somebody here says buy jail stocks. Oh my goodness, something else, man.
I'm not like a very political person as far as Republican or Democrat. I just know that either side we're in trouble, but I think we're better off for what we got right now.
Yeah.
And let them play out and let him fight the globalist agenda if he's really truly fighting it out.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Right. We don't know. We don't know, but I know one thing that gives me a sense of like, I'll stay reserved and just I'll be patient. But the fact that this whole pedophile situation has become so mainstream now, it would have never been talked about or touched had it been the other candidate that had won. So 3.5 years of all this human trafficking stuff, even though we knew about it, I never even paid attention to it really until it became something that was brought about as a result of what looks like this current administration, making it obvious that there's some things going on behind the scenes. So I think that's one of the benefits. So that right there lets me know that, I'm glad that more people are aware of this, atrocity that we're all, just behind the scenes, it's happening behind the scenes. So that's been one bonus, one thumbs up on my side.
Yeah. And and as far as 5G networks coming up, I'm looking at middle of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because the networks, they got to get all these antennas up.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you where I'm at, this city is getting flooded with them.
Yeah.
Cities are getting flooded.
Yeah.
And 2021, the 5G network goes up. I think in the middle of 2021. Then that's when we all in trouble.
So I know when the initial lockdown started, when I ended up going to some areas I hadn't gone in a while, I saw towers up the wazoo stuff. I know I would have noticed them before, but while we were initially on lockdown, they had a nice crew out there working. So I'd imagine that's been the case all around this country.
Man, you know what? They're hooked up to fiber optics.
Mm-hmm.
That I do know. I've seen it. And I'm at the point that whatever they pay those guys to get them antennas up, I want to be put on right now.
Yeah.
You ain't stopping it, so I'm going to join you.
Hey, man, I appreciate you calling, my man.
All right, no problem.
Yeah, be good.
Right.
Yeah, man, good stuff. All right. A couple more minutes, and then we're going to get ready to dial back. And so we'll get a call here. Let me hit this one here. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, calling from California, Northern California, Vacaville.
How you doing, my man? What's on your mind?
I'm good. I kind of chimed in late here, but Camilla Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, I'll just put it this way. I'm retired law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
It's common knowledge how Kamala Harris, came about, etc. There were times when she literally, when downtown Willie Brown and the mayor of San Francisco back in the days,
mm-hmm.
His wife would come in extremely angry, storming into the office, and Camilla would be sitting on his lap, literally. This is all common knowledge. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But she'll get exposed, and talking about prison is a business,
mm-hmm.
and she was heavily involved with that,
mm-hmm.
putting away. I don't care if her skin is black or whatever. She was heavily involved in locking brothers up left and right.
Yeah.
For the prison industry, and this is all common knowledge in California. Yeah. I don't know about the rest of the country, but it's common knowledge out here.
We're getting wind of it more and more and more. And so I'd imagine between now and the next couple of weeks, it's going to be commercials and videos and more stuff popping up on the internet. So yeah.
Well, I'll just put there's only so much I can say.
Yeah.
I'm retired law enforcement. After I got out of that, I got into the private sector.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
The high end security, executive protection, etc. Blah blah blah.
Right.
And there's only so much I can say. There's disclosures.
Yeah.
But this is just common knowledge within the industry.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say after that.
Yeah.
Aside from that.
Well, whatever was done in the closet will be brought out into the light. So we're going to find all about Mrs. Harris's, her even back to her childhood years. It's going to be out there. So I'm looking forward to finding out more myself.
Hey, but I will have to say this: she was pretty hot back in her day. She was a hottie, and actually now she's a nice looking woman.
Yeah.
But when you do the casting couch, like in Hollywood, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You slept your way through, and all of it's like I said, in California, it's common knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of the country, but out here, it's a joke. It's like that was it.
Yeah. Well, hey.
He chose her, and Biden is no better himself.
There's going to be some revealing of information, because everybody know Joe has a very dark past of all types of stuff that it's just real bad itself. So everybody in that game got some dirt in their closet, man. It's unfortunate, but hopefully the people can actually see and determine for themselves what's their version of best. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I would put it this way: both of them, Biden and her, prison industry. I mean, and here it is. Yeah, like I said, I'm retired law enforcement, and I know that's bad news right there.
Yeah, it is
with both of them. It's insane.
Yeah, I agree, man.
It is what it is, and I'll leave it there.
Yeah, appreciate you for calling in.
All right.
Yeah, be good.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah, man. Good stuff, man. Appreciate the chit chat. And of course, everything done in the secret will come to light, man. So we will see. We will find out. It says Mike is blushing. No, it is just some good stuff, man. It's this dude retired law enforcement. Anyway, everybody, it's at the hour point, man. I appreciate everybody hanging out with me tonight. And so for those that came in late, we're talking about the survey done that pretty much says that most Americans now fear touching cash, which is done. It's probably a paid piece done through a digital payment processing service, just to further instill the idea that cash is dangerous. You might want to get rid of it and use your debit card, credit card, or whatever. So a bunch of hogwash. And so it's worth touching on, just because, because of information like this, people will willingly opt out of cash just because they think there's something that is ultimately better for them. So attempting to answer his last call, but it keeps dropping. And so we might let it go right there. All right. So that being the case, if you've enjoyed the back and forth, don't be afraid to donate a thumbs up. Just click the button beneath here and show some love. And also, if you found it as informative, share this. Invite a friend to come join us tomorrow night, Lord willing. And love to hang out with you guys again. But other than that, be blessed, be safe. I will see you guys later. Peace.